What's up, guys? So if you follow the link, this is obviously my second part to the iPhone screen replacement, and this is the putting the iPhone screen back on and reassembling your iPhone. If you didn't follow the link, well, now you know. To get back to the first part, just click this link here. There's going to be a link in the description also. But this is just putting the iPhone back together and reassembling it fully. So, enjoy. Alright guys, so the first step is to grab the other screen. Make sure that this blue piece here that you can see there, most of them will come with that on. It's basically to protect the LCD, or the LED, I'm sorry. And all you want to do is you want to make sure you take it off. And do not, and I repeat, do not get any fingerprints on this screen, or this silvery part right here, or else it won't be the greatest thing. I can just say that. It just might not work or anything. I don't exactly know exactly what will happen, but just don't put your fingers on there. And if you could leave that blue thing on, it doesn't really hurt it. It just, I always take it off. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to take that, put that to the side, and make sure that this here, the body pretty much of your iPhone 4 or 4S, does not have any glass around it, around the edges, down here, or over here, or around this edge, or up here, because that will make sure that this, that will make this not go in very well. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, excuse me, you're going to bend these pieces down, these wires, and you're going to stick them through this hole right here very, very carefully. Now, let me just see if I can focus better in on here. There we go. Now once you do that, you are going to have to, there we are. Let me see if I can focus a little bit more. There we go. So, you can see the wires down in there. Make sure that these are both straight. There, you can see they're both, see how that one is bent? You have to make sure that it is straight at all times, or else it will get bent in there, and that's like a really, really bad thing to do. So make sure they're both straight as you bring that front piece, or the top piece in, and then carefully, as you can see, these should be the same exact height there, and then carefully push them through like so, and everything will go on there like that, and it will be completely flush. Now once they are completely flush, make sure they are completely flush around all sides, and make sure you are having a very, very tight grip on this. That way you don't let this go. And you are going to screw in these screws right here, here, and here, all on one side. So we are going to do that very quickly. Not very quickly, like take your time. But make sure you are holding it in so it does stay flush and does not move. And make sure that is on both sides then. And then once you have that side done, you're just going to flip to the other side. Make sure, again, everything is all flush. You're just going to flip to the other side and get the other side done. And then once you are done, we are going to go to our paper here that we discussed about last time, and we're going to find the 4 screws that go in each of the different corners. Here, 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 and down here. So we're going to start at the bottom of the iPhone and just work our way around. And just start down here. And I like to tilt it certain ways, I don't know, however you feel comfortable. And then make sure they're snug. Do not over tighten these screws, guys, or you will mess up the screws. You could strip them and then you could never get them off again if you did so happen to break your iPhone again. So just make sure they're snug but not too tight. Now, like I said before, and like we already discussed, this is the hardest one to undo, so this is going to be the hardest one to get back in. And I think I got it there. Yep, I got that. So this is, like I said, the hardest one to get, so don't be discouraged if you can't get it right away. Now the next one is one of the easier ones, just right down there. So there we go. And all those are back in. Now, the next step is to put the speaker system kind of thing back in. So that's a really easy step. All we do is we just kind of slide it in there. And then what you do is you take the 2 screws with it and put it right there. And don't put this one on quite yet because we have to wait to put the logic board in order to get that one. So we're just going to screw this one in over here. So all we're going to do is take our screwdriver, get our screw on, and for this part we just hold this down because it's a little springy, and we're just going to screw this in as snug as we can, and then it is onto the logic board. The logic board is one of the harder parts. This is the logic board here, and we're just going to be putting it back in. Alright, now for the logic board, we are just going to push this down, make sure these connectors are kind of down right here, and then these connectors are out, and then we are going to take this part of the logic board, put it down in there. It slides kind of in, just slightly in there, and then the entire logic board should just lay flat, like so. And then we're just going to take a screw from our piece of paper that I told you guys to make sure you do, and we're going to screw the logic board back into place. The first screw that I would recommend doing is this one here in the middle, because it's one of the easiest ones. And then I would go down to the bottom, down here, and then up to the top. So we're going to get the bottom one done. Now this is a hard screw to get in because the bottom piece here, this piece right here, is magnetic. So it's very, very difficult to get the screw on without the magnetic force. And I think I might have got, yep, there we go. So make sure this here is very magnetic, so make sure you get that screw in there very quickly, or else it'll be really, really hard to screw in because of the magnetic force there. Now, like I said, the next screw is going to be the one at the top of the logic board, right there, and that is our special screw with the flathead screwdriver. So we are just going to slightly put the screw in there with our fingers, take our flathead screwdriver and screw that in. And do not, whatever you do, do not screw these in very tight, just enough that it's a firm connection, that way you do not break the logic board. So the next step that we are going to take is to put these connectors back. So just very carefully connect each one of these connectors, and when you do connect it, you should hear like a little click, but they should just stay down, and if they flap back up, they're not connected, obviously. And then we go to these connectors. Oh, I'm sorry. And then we go to the battery, or not the battery, the camera. We take our camera out and we put it down in. Now make sure the camera is laying flush with the backing system and connect that connector on. Next, we are going to take these connectors here and we are going to connect each of these on until you hear the little click, and this one until you hear a little click, and we are almost done. The next step we're going to take is connecting the vibrator back on, and that's a really easy step. All we're going to do is just place this in place, take our screwdriver and just screw this back in, take our other screw and screw the other screw back in, just like that. Now, after you have the vibrator back in, we are going to take our metal plate here, protector plate, and we are just going to make sure it is fitted on correctly. And now we're going to put that back in with the 5 screws. So you just take each of the screw and one by one push down on the protector plate, and I just worked from right to left. And we are at the last one here. And there we go. That is the last screw to be screwed in. So now we are going to be looking at putting the battery back in and the other connector at the bottom. So the next step is going to be putting this connector here back on, and all we're going to do is just fold it back over and just ever so slightly connect that in. Just be very careful when pushing on these connectors because they are kind of brittle. So just connect that back on, put our plate back over it, and then we are going to take our screws and screw the plate back in. Now this plate here does only go in a certain way, so you just want to make sure that is the correct way by lining up the screw holes. Alright, now the next step is going to be putting this cable connector here back on. If you can see right here, it goes right there. Right there, it goes onto that. It is a little bit hard, so what I do is I bend it back a little bit and kind of angle it, and then it should snap right on, and you can feel it click on. So if you don't feel it click on, it's not on. The first time I did this, it took me a good probably 10 minutes just trying to figure that out. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't work right away for you. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting this piece right here on, and this just goes right here. It's a little piece that goes around where the battery connects, and then we are going to be connecting the battery. So what we do is we just make sure we hold this piece here that we just put on, and then we are going to connect this piece down in there. So just make sure we hold that. There we go. And it is on. Now the next step we are going to do is we're just going to put the battery down in, and we are going to screw the battery in right here. Alright, now we just take our screw and we screw it into the screw hole right here. And we are done with the replacement pretty much. Now all we're going to do is put our back piece on. But before we do that, we are going to take the iPhone and turn it on and make sure it works. Alright, so now it is flipped over, and don't worry about this. This is all part of this right here. So we're just going to peel this off and throw that away. And now we're just going to turn it on, and we will see if the replacement worked. What I do is I turn the iPhone on, I make sure I can slide to unlock, I make sure I can make phone calls, it has service, and it can play music. So if it can do all those, then we're going to turn it back over. I'm not going to worry about this because I know for a fact this is working. And we are going to just take this, and you just put this in here, make sure it's flush, and there's a gap there at the bottom, and if you just slide it in, and then we are going to take our screws and screw it back in. So, like I said, we just slide this in, and it should go in very easily. And then we're going to take our special pentalobe screwdriver, and we are going to screw the bottom two screws back into place. And then we are done with the iPhone replacement, and we're going to turn it back on to make sure it works. And just wait for the boot up. Now I can see in the camera there's a little defect right here, but as I'm looking at it in my person in real life, there's not that defect there. So that is a camera flare, so if you notice that. And it should be booting back up very shortly. And there we go, it is up and running. Now this is not my iPhone, so I'm not going to show you that picture of who it is. And we're just going to make sure it slides to unlock, make sure it plays some music. I don't know.
What is this?
Alright, it plays music there. And then what I do is I make sure that it makes phone calls and everything like that. So just make sure you can get phone calls and text messages, and you're all good. Alrighty guys, so that is how to take apart and put back together the iPhone 4 or 4S. They're basically the same exact thing, but this is more specifically the iPhone 4 for AT&T. But thank you for watching. Make sure you like this video if you really like this video, and if it helped you out at all. Leave comments down below. Tell me what you think I can do to improve. And make sure you are subscribing to my YouTube channel. That way it helps me grow, helps me bring more content to you guys. So that's basically it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.